Good morning, friends. Good morning. Welcome to our multi-platform worship service here at UU Mount Airy. I am Reverend McKinley Sims. I use he, him pronouns, and it is my honor to be co-leading our service today with this one and with our intern minister, Shay Dively, and our wonderful music director, Holly Ferris. Big thanks to Mike Foy, who is behind the scenes helping with our AV, and big thanks to you all for being here, whether you're joining us here in person or online from wherever you are through the magic of our Zoom technology or watching us later on Facebook or on YouTube. We are glad to be together this morning. A few small announcements as we settle into today's service. If you'd like to stick your fingers in your mouth, please make use of the hand sanitizer before you touch anyone else today. If you brought a cell phone or a pager or anything that makes noise with you, if you would please silence it so that we can be as present as possible in this space. If you are in need of restrooms and you're not wearing a diaper, they are at the back of the sanctuary and downstairs to your right or down the lift to your left. And we are streaming live to the internet, so please be aware of that. If you're joining us from home and you want the closed captions turned on, there's a button the bottom of your Zoom screen with the CC button for closed caption. If you click it, it should say show captions, and you'll be able to see those on your screen. And childcare is available here at UU Mount Airy for little ones, and our religious exploration, led by the wonderful Miss Elizabeth Ann Terry, and we'll be leaving for their exploration time a little bit later in the service. Friends, happy Sunday. Let's take a breath together to enter into this time of worship. This is a UU congregation, which means we are people of different faiths, different traditions, different heritages, different ethnicities, orientations, and expressions, different ways of moving in the world. And we are all here in this universalist sanctuary because everyone is welcome in our diverse tapestry of love. We say here that we are building a beloved community by embracing all souls and nurturing wholeness. And the world is in need of some wholeness right now. I'm going to share some words from the president of the UUA, the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, the head of our denomination, Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, who has words of wisdom speaking to the conflict around the world, especially in Palestine and Israel. She writes, "Beloveds, I invite you to stop what you are doing if you can and sit with me in the depth of the tragedy of continued violence between Israel and Hamas. How to reconcile the cost of occupation and of war. How to nuance two very real histories of oppression and violence. I'm holding close the words of UN Middle East Peace Envoy Tor Venesland, who said, 'This is a dangerous precipice, and I appeal to all to pull back from the brink.' We, as people of faith, can condemn violence against civilians while at the same time engaging the full legacies and histories of oppression that shape such devastating conflict. As a faith tradition, UUs have long worked for peace, and our principles and values call for the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. At the same time, we have not engaged the tangled issues surrounding Israel-Palestine in community since 2018, and our last engagement resulted in severed relationships and deep pain. I pray for the people of Israel and Palestine. I pray for leaders around the globe who must respond to this latest flare of violence and the untenable ethical considerations that abound. I pray for Muslim and Jewish UUs who experience the impact of this long strife acutely. I pray that those of us less likely to know the trauma of unending brutality and harm will not turn away from generational loss, from the devastating realities and their root causes, or from the relentless tragedy of war and occupation. Be gentle with yourselves when you need to be, but do not turn away unless you must. We are one global family living tenuously on the same human-impacted earth. Let us center ourselves in justice as we call for peace." Would you take a second and just meditate on those? Thank you. Today's service is about heritage and the wisdom of Indigenous people here on Turtle Island, most specifically. So we want to begin with some words and some actions that might sound and feel a little out of place, especially with holding such tenuous prayer off the top of the service. But I want to reorient us to where we are here and now, to this land. So we begin with gratitude for this land, for Lenape land, this land that has held life and death, creator and creation, joy and sorrow for the millennia before this building was ever built. And even inside this building, we are connected to this land. So I invite you to feel your feet on the floor, how your body is situated on this land, how your soul is connected to this land, whether this is your home where you were born or it is your home now. We are here on this land. Caitlin Curtis's book, Living Resistance, is our guide text for this morning. And in her book, she often starts with some personal time and reflective time. We're going to take just a moment, not as long as we had hoped to do. I invite you to think about what questions you are holding for yourself right now. They could be questions related to heritage, to the topic of this service. They could be questions about the violence here in our city, in our country, and across the world. They could be personal questions about how your soul is today. I'm going to invite you just to think of a few questions that you were holding, not to try to answer them, just to make them aware to your conscious mind. We're going to take 1 minute just to sit and be and to think of these questions that we are holding here in the personal realm that Caitlin Curtis refers to in her book. Some example questions are on the screen, I think on the next slide, Mike. Thank you, Bella. You call my grandmother. So I invite you to think of one of these questions or a few of these questions and just hold them in your mind. Can tune out any distractions here in the sanctuary, and we ground ourselves in the personal realm first. Our journey today mirrors the journey that Caitlin writes about, the journey that all humans take through 4 realms, starting in the personal realm, moving to the communal realm, the ancestral realm, and the integral realm. But as we are here in this personal realm, meditating on these questions, hear these words. Thank you, Mike. We begin in the personal realm here with these words. Dear reader, feeler, explorer, unlearner, and friend, I want you to remember something really important. You are a human being. You have not yet arrived. You are continually arriving. The thing about being a human is that we are born, we live, we grieve, we celebrate, and one day we pass on, becoming ancestors and guides to those who come after us. The timeline of your life is not a straight line. It ebbs and flows back and forth. You are nowhere and everywhere all at once. And that means that most of the time, the best you can do is be present to the moment. Be open to the unlearning and the learning, and trust that you are doing the work of love. You may get overwhelmed, and when you do, repeat these words to yourself as a kind of medicine. I am a human being. I am always arriving. I invite you to repeat those words after me. I am a human being. I am always arriving. Let's take one final breath together. I invite Shay to read our chalice lighting.
In UU congregations, we light a chalice to celebrate our coming together in love, to mark the sacred space and time of our community, and invite Spirit into our lives. We invite you to light a candle wherever you are today. Let us lean into these words by Caitlin B. Curtis together as Reverend McKinley lights our chalice. Maybe you don't know strength until you've rested beneath the branches of a magnolia tree, feeling the weight of her regal waxed leaves. Maybe you don't know community until you've watched ants rebuild what was broken by a world much bigger than theirs. Maybe you don't know fortitude until you've noticed geese fly to the furthest border of warmth to protect their children. Maybe you don't know compassion until you place your hands in the dirt and feel the pulse of the earth, her heart and soul welcoming you. And maybe you don't know time until you run your fingers over a river rock, their skin softened by generations of magic. Maybe you don't know yourself until the mirror of the water reminds you of your goodness and brings you home again. Curtis shares with us that the communal realm, calls us into the holy work of extending the healing and care practices we've generated within ourselves to the communal realm of which we all are a part, and all life is a part. It calls us to protect, care for, love, and respect all children so we may embody the knowing that all children are sacred and that we belong to one another and to those around us. And that by honoring and valuing the lives of all children in this way, we disrupt the cycles of oppression and its harm, inviting curiosity and the visioning of a better world to come into the forefront. The communal realm also beckons us to foster deep connection to our solidarity with one another and our protection and kinship with Mother Earth. A solidarity where we listen to each other's stories, and as Curtis notes, we choose to truly see one another with all of our similarities and differences intertwined. A kinship with Mother Earth, where we connect with her and understand that we belong to her and the creatures that inhabit her. These calls inspire us to explore how we can practice ethical resistance, grounded in support and solidarity for all. Our opening hymn this morning is number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, and we invite you to stand in body or rise in spirit as we sing this hymn together, moving as you will with this song.
Us
Thank you, friends. Part of being a community is holding the joys and sorrows that bind us together, that make us human. If you're here in the sanctuary, we'll invite you to come up by the side aisle to grab a stone from the basket that symbolizes your joys and sorrows, hopes and dreams, prayers and wishes, needs and gifts that we might offer into the bowl of water that symbolizes this community. If you're joining us online, we invite you to use the chat function and let us know if you would like us to share your joy and sorrow out loud here in the sanctuary. If this is your first time, you're welcome to sit in the pew and simply be as we listen to the music and the sharing of our joys and sorrows. Those joys and sorrows that are especially deep, we invite you to speak into the microphone and tell us what emotions you are feeling and what you are holding today. I invite you to come however you are. The table of joys and sorrows is open.
Good morning. My joy today is I was able to retrieve a 1972 audio tape that I made with my grandmother and my father. And when I listened to it, it just made my heart sing. So I'm very happy about that.
Hi, my name my name is Linda, and I put a stone in the bowl as a stone of gratitude for someone who's very special in my life, someone who works really hard for the good of our family and for the good of our extended family here in our congregation, and someone who just celebrated a birthday. Bruce. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bruce. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. My name is Bruce. And I got a wonderful birthday present this week. I got a letter at Villanova that said you have been selected for the Albert LePage Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award for inclusive teaching and pedagogy. They gave the award when I had to teach the course that they were talking about while they gave it to me. So to see him recording of it, which was really nice. And then I got the letter, besides the nice little medallion that I can wear at commencement, it had a cash award that was very substantial, and I had no clue that there was going to be anything like that. So I'm very grateful.
Hi, I'm Sue Erkwitz. I grew up in this church. I love this church. It's so nice to come back and see this church in such a good place, I think. And I'm in Pittsburgh with a Unitarian church there, and you should know that you are very much recognized as a progressive congregation in this denomination. No matter where I go, I hear about Restoration Now UUs of Mount Airy. So good for you.
My name is Annie Gahab. As a celebration of Indigenous Peoples Day, I can think of 3 people who went to the Carlisle Indian School. Cassetta Roosevelt, Jack Mather, and Richard Cassetta, who was Tess, my wife's uncle. Thank you.
I want to share something that's good news, but I can't really call it a joy. But it's something that we've all waited a long time for, and that is that our friend and fellow congregant Suzanne is finishing her treatment this week, and she'll get to ring the bell at the Abramson Cancer Center.
Good morning, I'm Jill. It was ironic that last night, my sorrow, actually, I finally went to see the movie Golda. And my thoughts and sorrows are with the people of Israel.
So today I put 2 stones in for honoring ancestors. One, my mom, whose birthday is today, and one for my Uncle Jack, who passed away unexpectedly on Wednesday night.
Build all the complexities of joy and sorrow in our lives as individuals and together. And invite Shay to put a final stone into the bowl for all those not spoken out loud, but held in the quiet of our hearts. Holly is going to lead us in a reflective song for our moment of prayer.
Good morning. St. Augustine, it has been attributed to, had said, when you sing, you pray twice, one of my favorite sayings. And that's how I pray. This particular song is an interpretation of the meta prayer. May I be safe, may I be free from suffering, etc. And I want to encourage you, as you see at the bottom, or maybe on the screen, we sing through this 3 times. The second time, we, instead of saying, may I be filled with loving kindness, we sing, may you. And I want you to think in your own life, make it personal. Who is you? You know, who are you singing to? It could be someone you feel a little itchy, scratchy with, or it could be someone who's a beloved who you cherish. The last time we sing, may we be filled with loving kindness, and we use the word we throughout. And thinking of our community, maybe again encompassing the whole world, or indeed Palestine and Israel. So I encourage you to pray twice through singing. May I kindness, may I with loving kindness, may May you be filled. May you may you be well. May you be pardoned. May oh, may we be filled. May we be filled with kindness. May we be kindness.
Thank you, friends. Invite our children of all ages who are feeling brave and want to come sit on the carpet with me. We're actually going to watch a story through a video. The book called Still This Love Goes On, written by Buffy St. Marie and illustrated by Julie Flett. We're all going to watch it together because we can all get a little something out of it. So little ones, if you want to come up and sit on the floor with me, do this so we can see a little bit better. Before we go off with Miss Elizabeth Ann, have a seat wherever you want on any of the squares. We're going to watch the big TV and watch our story that talks about being a native person here. You're going to see some animals. You're going to see lots of land. And there's going to be some words that aren't in English. So we'll do our best to see what we can see here. Still, this love goes on.
Sat beside a beaver dam and watched the winter grow. Ice was hard with little tracks appearing on the snow. Fog is in the valley now and all the geese have gone. Across the moon I saw them go, and still this love goes on and on. Still this love goes on. Once I saw the summer flowers turn the fields to sun. Up and down the mountainside I watched the summer run. Now the fields are muffled in white and snow's on the dawn. Morning comes on shivering wings, and still this love goes on and on. Still this love goes on. In every dream I can smell the sweet grass burning. In my heart I can hear the drum and hear the singers soaring and see the jingle dancers. And still this love goes on and on. Still this love goes on. In every dream I can smell the sweet grass burning. And in my heart I can hear the drum and hear the singers soaring and see the jingle dancers. And still this love goes on and on. Still this love goes on.
fancy dancer come up north to see some friends of his. Fell in love in a powwow town, and you know how that is. Beaded girls and painted ponies turn your life around. And now you're singing Kersaki Day. On and on, on and on and on and on. And girl, every dream I can smell the sweet grass burning. And in my heart always hear the drum and hear the singers soaring and see the jingle dancers. And still this love goes on and on. Still this love goes on. And still this love goes on and on. Still this love goes on. And still this love goes on and on and on and on and on. And still this love goes on and on. Still this love goes on.
Hey friends, you're going to go with Miss Elizabeth Ann, Miss Lena, and Miss Jill to learn more about how the love goes on and on
And
on.
be the jingle dancers as you leave. And we're going to help them leave. And still this love goes on and on. And still this love goes on. And still this love goes on and on. And still this love goes on and on and on and on. And still this love goes on.
Thank you, friends. We move into the ancestral realm now. From the personal to the communal to the ancestral. I want to tell you something. That ache, that exhausted longing, that hole that seems to fill with nothing but air. Remember the nothingness that fills it. One day you will need space to breathe, to remember, to accept, to grieve. And that big open space inside you will become home. We enter the ancestral realm, a space of fluidity, movement, and interaction with those who came before us. This is going to feel kind of silly for some of us, and it's going to feel really good to some of us, but diversity is key here. I'm going to invite you to put your hand on your belly. Just wiggle it, not thinking about whether our belly is soft or hard. We're just putting our hand on our belly, feeling the breath come in and out. I'm actually going to invite you to hum a little bit. Stay with me if this sounds weird. There's a key to this. We're just going to hum together for just a few seconds and just feel the hum in your belly. And I'll make it nice and loud for me so you don't have to feel self-conscious. Wiggle your hand on your belly a little bit as you hum. Feel free to change pitch if you want. And then let your hum fade with your breath. Okay, so that might have been weird for some of us. That is a practice, a somatic practice, as offered by Resmaa Menakem, a Black therapist and writer who speaks about connecting with our personal heritage, our histories, and our ancestors. And the first step in doing some of that somatic work is called settling your body. Settling your body, getting the energy going, literally, through the sound vibrations of your body, and doing it together helps make us a community. With that settling in place, hear these words from Caitlin Curtis. The ancestral realm is an ethereal but also very real place where we interact with our ancestors, where we acknowledge them in our very bodies, even as we acknowledge they have passed on. The ancestral realm is a perfect place to practice decolonization, to name the ways in which our ancestors did what they could, but did not do enough. the ways our ancestors still had so much to accomplish, but did not have the space, resources, or time to do it all. The ways our ancestors rely on us to change the things they couldn't or didn't change. Stop for a moment and consider your ancestors. Maybe you don't know them, or when you try to picture them, their faces are a blur. Even so, take a moment to acknowledge them. While reading Resma Menakem's book, My Grandmother's Hands, I came to a point where I had to imagine my ancestors, and I admit I feared the worst, that I would not picture anyone. But then they came, and I saw a large group of people holding hands, walking down a dirt path past me. And as they passed, the woman on the end closest to me reached her hand out, beckoning me to join them. They were ancestors from all parts of my family, on all sides, coming together in some sort of healing journey that I could not fully understand, and they were graciously inviting me into it. I accepted. After that meditation, the way I understood my own ancestors changed because I had been invited to be an active part of not just my own healing, but theirs as well. The ancestral realm is where the magic happens. Spend a little more time talking about decolonization after today's service for those who are interested. We end with this poem. One day you'll need it. One day you'll go there and you'll stay a while in that nothingness with that air all around you. It will be the very thing that cocoons you and prepares you again for the outside world. So I want to tell you something, and I want you to tell me something. Do you feel it? Do you long for home? Do you need that air? Do you believe in it? Do you believe in you?
The integral realm is a sacred place of expansiveness where the personal, communal, and ancestral realms overlap and integrate. It is the place, as Curtis explains, where we step out of ourselves, where we hold all of ourselves, where our spiritual center finds its grounding and truly shows us the beauty of the universe. Is where we learn to be totally ourselves, into the center of our beings. Within this realm, we experience interspiritual relationships, relationships where storytelling and honest listening flourish. As Curtis writes, we trade our fear for curiosity and courage. These interspiritual relationships, she emphasizes, are not limited to human relations, but include all of the creation that surrounds us and Mother Earth that holds us. These interspiritual relationships, require us to find our own heartbeat and to sync it once again with the heartbeat of Mother Earth. The realm also invites us to step into the practices of prayer and dreaming. Embodying prayer as a practice, Curtis writes, as a way home leads us into a fluidity in our ways of being, encouraging us to let go of the boundaries around who is allowed to pray and how. We find intimacy with the divine. And dreaming, she shares, keeps us moving toward another way, toward future generations, somehow toward our ancestors and toward healing the earth and ourselves. In this realm, we learn how we are grounded and in each moment, what resistance means for us right now. So let us take a moment to breathe in that medicine we heard earlier this morning. I am a human being. I am always arriving. Let's say it together. I am a human being. I am always arriving. So today I am moved to share and inspired to share humbly with you and to be present in the now. From the moment I read the greeting of living resistance, dear reader, feeler, explorer, unlearner, and friend, I want you to remember something really important. I could feel the love, the care, and the nurturing spirit that Curtis brings to her work, to her life, and to the interactions she has with others. I tried, but not always succeeded to reciprocate, to come to the book with a quiet mind, a slower internal pace, and a spirit of gratitude. I could feel that this book was intended as a gift, a place to explore and examine and to hold space for self and for one another. As I moved through the realms and Curtis shared her story and stories, I experienced well-known memories and sudden flashbacks. Her story sharing about noticing the pain in her body and realizing it was connected to trauma responses from her childhood, and her subsequent exploration of connecting to her inner child brought forth my memories of such an awareness and exploration within myself. I remember doing the work to reclaim, nurture, and heal my little one. I recalled the artwork that I made to represent the tightness I felt in my neck, the words that often remained caught in my throat, and the emotions that often rested or rumbled beneath them. I also created images to reflect the tightness and hardness surrounding my heart. And I remembered earlier this morning, it looked sort of like a peach pit, and it was about that big. Engaging in explorations to release these tensions, to release unfounded beliefs wasn't always easy. And in the beginning, the vulnerability was more than uncomfortable. But as I began to break down the walls within myself, I began to connect with myself and to be more present to and with others, seeing more of their humanity before me, honoring the stories of their lives and their embodiment. Her story sharing about connecting with and speaking to Mother Earth and its creatures brought flashbacks of me as a young girl, finally old enough to be in the backyard by myself. So I probably was around 6, and I would rest upon a boulder at the very end of our yard. It was as if the boulder and I were shaped for one another, me nestling within the contours of its top and it holding me with the greatest of ease. I would share my day with the boulder, and often I cried. I was a quirky little kid who was often teased and bullied, and I drew comfort from the boulder and the daffodil that grew in the sunny spot beside it. I also hugged and spoke with the huge old apple tree near the house and cried when it was cut down, not understanding that if it had fallen onto the house, it would have taken out both the deck and the dining room. These days, I sometimes walk along the riverside and share my day, the ways I need to heal and grow, and rituals for those now departed, with the trees and the living water. This is part of who I am, and this is how I pray. As I resonated with Curtis's story, sharings and recollections came to the surface, I was keenly aware that the particularities of our experiences and lives are not the same. I do not know what the embodiment of intergenerational ancestral trauma feels like, nor the trauma of systemic racism, the direct trauma. My ancestors were not destroyed, did not lose their sacred lands, and were not forced to disconnect from their languages and cultures. I cannot understand the level of healing that such brutality and harm needs. But my gift of empathy enables me to actively listen so that I may lean into another's story. My open heart demands that I continue to deepen my knowledge of the history of this land and this country so that truth-telling and healing can occur. Is such work hard for folks who look like me? Initially, it can be scary to relinquish what we have been indoctrinated to believe is true. Our identities have become intertwined with a false and inflexible narrative. And as I continue to heal myself and to unlearn those things that cause harm and destruction, I have come to know that when marginalized voices and bodies and needs are centered, I do not lose the core of who I am. I am not made less, and I do not disappear. This is a myth that they tell us. This is a lie. Life truly becomes more vibrant, more love-filled, and the integral realm more present. Our marginalized siblings have been waiting hundreds of years too long for the radiance of their beings to be honored and for their cultures to be celebrated without appropriation. May each of them know that I honor them, that when I make mistakes, I promise to do better. I promise to continue to open my heart. I am a human being. I am always arriving. May it be so.
Invite us to hum a little bit. If you know this tune, I invite you to hum along with it. It's an Alleluia chorus tune. Friends, this is the time in our service where we collect the offering of our financial resources. I'm going to ask our ushers to go ahead and grab the plate and start passing it around while I give the instructions. There are many ways to give back to this congregation, and we encourage you to find the way that works for you. If this is your first time, there is no expectation that you give anything into the plates or through our online offering portal that you can find at our website. Any money that goes into the plates is for the operating fund of this congregation. Any pocket change or any money that you put into the white envelopes that say Change for Change on them go towards the Change for Change organization, a different social justice group each month. And for this month, it is the Amir Healing Center. Every Murder is Real that does wonderful work and therapy for those who have lost their lives to gun violence and to their families. Friends, we invite you to let us know how you found us today if this is your first time. For those who are online, to give as you are willing and able. Invite our choir forward to give our offertory. And the offering of all our gifts will be received.
As the choir comes forward, You'll hear the lyrics over and over like a mantra. I think a lot of singing prayer today. We are not alone. God is with us. I want to invite you, such as in the meta prayer and in today's focus, to choose for yourself what, replacing the word God, if you feel so comfortable to do so. Think of the people who lived on this land, as we were thinking throughout the service today and throughout Philadelphia in particular. And if we're thinking God is with us, our ancestors are with us, the world is with us, the universe is with us, whatever you feel comfortable with, and enjoy. You can listen with your eyes closed, and thank you. And go. Go.
Thank you so much for that beautiful song. As we get ready to extinguish our chalice and end our time together this morning, please remember to stick around for announcements in the slides and downstairs during coffee hour. Folks on Zoom are invited to check in with each other and one of the ministers afterwards. And for more information on what's going on in the life of this congregation, you can check out the weekly newsletter that comes out on Thursdays, or you can peruse the insert in your order of service. Finally, check out our website and social media pages for more important updates. The words "to extinguish our chalice" are a poem, and we invite you to breathe this poem deep into your body, mind, heart, and soul. To the tender call of letting go, I give not an answer, but a breath, a steady in and out to admit and accept that all is required here is presence and not sureness. To the tender call of falling, I close my eyes and open my hands, palms up, thoughts spanning the fullness of living and breathing, the depths of everything that lives and loves. To the tender call of believing, I claim not ideology, but thisness, the presence and heartbeat of body, mind, and spirit that always seek. And to the tender call of embracing, I simply abandon, strip bare, forsake, so that in all that it left, I am known and fully held in what I do not know. That the letting go, the falling, the believing, the embracing is in itself all that living gives. From the sunrise to the sunset of every created day, every created moment, every created opportunity, a glimpse of presence and eternity, embodied in this body, embodied in love. Oh my gosh. Our closing hymn is number 121, We'll Build a Land. Let us stand in body or rise in spirit as we sing this hymn together, proclaiming our vision to the world.
And I encourage you, as far as keeping the language balanced on the refrain, we're going to use sisters and brothers for the first two verses. And then we're going to use siblings and cousins is the suggested, but sing whatever you feel comfortable with. Those are the choices today.
Thank you, friends. Would you be seated for just a second as we close down? We began with honoring and talking about the lands, and we end with talking about building the land. And we move from a personal realm to a communal realm, to ancestral realms, to the integral realm where everything is together. When we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. Come build the lands where peace is born. We have high esteem for community, and sometimes community can let you down. Sometimes communities go to war with each other, sometimes in small ways and sometimes in big ways, sometimes with bombs and guns and sometimes with words and actions. Yes, I am. I can assure you I am. Sometimes we have to put our hope in love, something that is beyond, and sometimes that's hard for us to reckon with. What does that mean? And my hope is that that love abounds and goes on and on and on. May that be so. Friends, have a great week. We will listen to our postlude that Holly has some introduction for.
Yes, I encourage you, this is unusual, to stay seated and enjoy the full experience of the video and the song, because when I found this song and this video, it was so beautiful to me because they're Indigenous people singing. They're in indigenous land, beautiful indigenous lands. They're using the instruments of their culture, and the words will speak for themselves. And then go to coffee hour and have fun.
Today is for us indigenous people. Rise up, sing loud, celebrate, and be proud. Ayo. Indigenous people, rise up, sing loud, celebrate, and be proud. Ayo, ayo.
Thank you, friend. If you're here in person, we invite you downstairs for potluck. We have lots of goodies downstairs. That's also where the restrooms are. Friends who are online, we hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Oh my goodness. What are you in that? Oh, yeah. I know. But I'll put out an email and we'll get those dates. Yeah, shoot. Anyway, Shane has kind of focused time and reading it. You're gonna be like,